Hello guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to take you a journey through to the deadlift. So we're going to start from the beginner progressions all the way up to your goal trick, which is a deadlift. So a lot of people have this goal but don't know how to achieve it. So we're going to go through step by step which sort of benchmark tricks you need to get before you go to the next one. So stay tuned. So starting from the very beginning, we need to be able to hold our weight in our hands. So we're going to do this from a really safe position, standing upright, starting on our toes. We're going to bring one arm up and make sure we can support the weight by pulling and pushing to take our legs off. Really important that you can do this one without spinning before you move on to the next trick. So you want to be able to hold this, engaging your shoulders nice and strong. Our next trick progression is to go into a split grip tuck. So we go into this position to come into hold it. This is really important because we start to transfer the weight down to our bottom arm and start to get the feeling of moving over and holding your whole weight with your arms. From here, guys, we're going to go into a split grip Jamila. So we're going to straighten our legs in this position. And this is so that we can really make sure our legs are strong enough to be able to hold that end position of our Aisha. So we want to be able to hold this nice and strong with nice pointed toes and straight legs. Smooth entry and exit out of it as well, because as you know, your deadlift is going to be, it's a motion rather than just a static hold. So this helps us be able to transition in and out of things, creating the strength for the deadlift. All right, our next progression is when we start to go upside down. So we've been practicing our pulling and pushing, and now we're going to put a little bit of extra weight on it by inverting ourselves. So we're going to create this heart-shaped inverted position. So this is what it looks like. Getting our knees down and practicing our alignment, practicing our squeezing and holding to come down. There's also another way you can get into that, and I think trying multiple ways of getting into things is the best way to learn because you're challenging your body. So the other way to get into this is from our tuck shape. We're going to hook our top leg on, practice sliding, and bring our legs into position, holding, making sure our head is in a nice line, and coming down. Now that we've started to go upside down, we're going to start to remove one of our limbs to make it a little bit harder. So from this point, we've had everything nice and close to the pole and we've been holding on nice and tight, practicing our core engagement and practicing our holds. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take an element away to try and challenge those arms just to see how much you're actually using your legs and how much you're using your arms. So from here, we're going to go into the butterfly. Similar to our heart shape we did before, and you're going to take one leg back. Really important, you don't need to arch your back because when you do your Aishas and deadlifts, you want a nice square back. So just come into this shape to start with, hold it to make sure you have a nice, strong, solid shape, pulling with the top arm, pushing with the bottom arm. This next progression is just a small progression. So from our butterfly we did just before, we're going to extend our legs. So the point of this one, again, is to remove more of the limbs to make sure that your arms are taking the weight. So showing you from the ground first, when we do our butterfly, we have the points of contact, our heel, all the way up through our calf and our knee. When we extend this, we're actually going to shoot this leg up, that'll be up the pole, as we turn out and just keep the heel on. Really important to point because there becomes a little hook. If you flex, there's no hook with your foot. So again, saying we're upside down like this, that is going to be the ceiling. I slide my foot up to the ceiling and then straighten out and turn out. This is what's going to create a nice solid shape for you for prep for your Aisha. Then we can go into our deadlift. So when we come up, we're getting into our heart shape, we're getting into our butterfly, and then I'm sliding this leg up as I extend.
We want to make sure we're pulling in that shoulder, pushing in that bottom arm, and hold this position nice and solid before you move on. Give it a go.
Okay guys, so here is where we're going to start taking our legs off. So now you've been able to hold your body upside down, nice and strong. You've been able to hold with just that heel on and you're feeling quite strong in the arms. You're not slipping, you're not dropping down to the side. We're going to take our legs off. So I'm going to show you in two different ways. This one we call an Aisha, and we're going to go from that extended butterfly position we were just in. Bring that back leg in, and then we're going to slowly bring our legs down. So we're going to set our whole body up first, and then we're going to bring our legs down so that not much moves. So from here, our extended butterfly, we're going to bring our legs in, and then we're going to try to bring them down as we hold. Yeah, you can also go from here and bend down and out if you like, whatever you prefer. Some people prefer the straight legs because they feel like their legs are nice and strong and engaged, and some people prefer the bending down and out. Now you want to practice this first with a standing grip. We've been doing all our tricks with a standing grip to start with because it really builds the strength in the pulling and in the shoulder. But what we're also going to do at this stage of our progression to our deadlift is practice going into a twisty grip as well. So the difference with this one, instead of our hand being like this, our hand is turned the opposite way on the pole. Because when we're doing our deadlift today, we are going to do it with a twisty grip, as that's usually the one most people go for first. So to do this, we're going to invert up the pole and do a hand change. You need to make sure that your hand goes into the right twisty grip position and the shoulder is engaged. The two biggest things here. So we're going to go up. Now, before we go into our extended butterflies where I change my hand, and then I'm going to do everything else the same. In together and out and hold. Making sure you put both legs on to come down and lowering down nice and slow. You don't want to fall out of this one because then it trains your shoulders to disengage. So give that one a go. Make sure you spend lots of time on that one because it is really, really important in our progressions. All right, guys, now congratulations for being able to hold your Aisha nice and strong because that is super, super important for our next one. This one we're doing is called a handspring. So this is the active movement from going from the floor and kicking up into your Aisha. Our Aisha is the end part. Some people might call it a static V, and this is our handspring. This is what it looks like. We want to make sure we set our arm up nice and strong, and the biggest thing with this one, biggest tip I can give you is don't start beside the pole. This is a really bad position for your shoulder. We're going to push and start so our head is directly in line with the pole. From here, we're going to kick up into our Aisha and practice holding. From this stage is where you can start to come back down and come back down in the same way that you came up. You want to spend a lot of time in this stage because this is the stage that you're going to feel like you're going to be really confident and will want to try a deadlift, but you're not going to be quite ready until you build up this strength. So you should be able to do this nice and slow before you move on without having big kick ups. So if your handspring looks like this, then you're not quite ready to come into it yet. You want to be able to take one smooth motion coming up with both legs, making sure we're pushing with this hand so it's not staying completely straight into our Aisha. And then back down the same way as well to make sure you're protecting your shoulders as well. Now that you have mastered your handspring, we're going to take it aerially. So aerially means that we're off the ground. When we do this, we're not climbing up. We're just doing it a very small amount off the ground just in case something goes wrong. And usually this will happen when you're learning new tricks. So you want to make sure you have a mat or be nice and close to the ground when you're doing quite advanced tricks. Now I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do your aerial handspring. The first way, which is the easier way, is to flex your foot. So an aerial handspring, instead of pushing off the ground, you're going to push off the pole and then kick up into your Aisha. The second way I'm going to do it is from a pointed toe, yeah? And I'm going to press there, so that's much harder. So what we're going to do to start this setup, instead of coming down really low, we're going to come up a little bit higher, prep our hand, and then we're going to bring our foot on. Now you don't want to do too many swings, you just want to come down and then up. Making sure you're nice and cautious on the way down because you are a lot higher than normal, even though it's only that much higher. Yeah? So that's the first one. You'll feel weird getting that position because you're so used to kicking off the ground. So it's going to feel weird pushing this way instead of this way. That's just another learning curve that you'll get over eventually. Once we feel like you've mastered that, this position, you just really need to feel like the same thing. You're pushing away, and this is where you start to transfer more weight into the arms. So from here, we come into our shin. And then back down. Yeah? So quite a big difference between those 2, but it is all in the one progression, which is your aerial handspring. So give that a practice. You can also add some bands to it to make it easier. You'll also spend quite a lot of time on this position before getting to our final one, which is our deadlift. Okay guys, congratulations. We are going to deadlift now. So this one, again, we're not gonna go very high to start with. We're gonna make sure we pull and push into our deadlift and squeezing nice and tight. Also, make sure you hook on at the end because you are going to be a little bit higher than normal. And from there, you can practice the deadlifts. Spinning, you can practice them with straight legs, one straight leg, one bent leg, but we're really just wanting to get upside down, trying to get inverted into our deadlift. Thanks for watching, guys.